I want to talk a little bit today about integration of network with configuration management systems, especially Ansible. Um, and I found the event-driven Ansible, which perfectly fits NetBox webhooks. So the basic architecture is you have a NetBox as source of truth. You have Ansible as a config management system that, well, pushes out the configs. As an example, I have virtual machines in my data center that I want to manage through NetBox, and you see the question marks. How is NetBox able to trigger some Ansible runs? And I found the Ansible, error there, syntax error, Ansible rule books, Ansible rule books, which basically provide a kind of API, and NetBox can talk to that API. That is very convenient and helps in a lot of ways of working. So basically what you're doing in, so what I'm going to do is I want to generate a new virtual machine in NetBox, and as soon as I trigger the webhook, I want to generate that virtual machine through an Ansible run in my data center or on a cloud provider, to be more specific. So the webhook is virtualization of virtual machine, triggered the webhook. The URL I'm talking to is, well, for the sake of these slides, I have a documentation address here. Port 5000 is where my Ansible rulebook is listening to. And the conditions is the status value is stage or commissioning. So if I have a virtual machine, doing an update and the new status is staged, then it will create the virtual machine. If the new status is decommissioning, it will delete the virtual machine. So that is the webhook inside NetBox. The rule book in Ansible is some kind of this. You have a source, which is the event-driven Ansible webhook. I make it listen to port 5000. And then you have the rules. If this happens, Ansible rulebook should do that. The condition is the event payload is a virtual machine, and the virtual machine data gets updated, and the new status is staged. For decommission, you can imagine the rest, and the action, the condition of the rule, and the action of the rule is run a playbook, and I have a playbook create droplet because I'm using DigitalOcean as a cloud provider, and they call their virtual machines droplets. So I create droplets, and I set the virtual machine variable to the payload of the event, which is the virtual machine data about the virtual machine. And this virtual machine data is passed to my playbook, and the playbook is looking like that. I have a DigitalOcean droplet, which I ensure that it's present. And here's the name of the virtual machine. You see the variable virtual machine.name. I have the size, I have the region, all variables originating in NetBox. I use the platform slug as the image. It takes its time to generate machine in DigitalOcean. When I tried it today, it takes about 10 minutes to create it. So we'll see whether we can do it during this presentation or not. We'll start there anyway. And finally, I register the data about the new machine in a variable new droplet and pass this information back to NetBox. I didn't show all the rest of the playbook because it's quite long. We can have a short look into Playbook afterwards. Now for the presentation, it is, well, let's go first to my NetBox. I have a virtual machine. I have a template here, and I have a NetBox with a template. I clone the template. I call the new virtual machine VM01. Status is planned. The cluster is Frankfurt 1 because I want to have it in Frankfurt. The platform is Debian 11. You see the resources, vCPUs, memory, and disk, which fits to the data of the droplets in DigitalOcean. So I created the status at the moment is planned. Everything looks fine. And now I go to my Ansible machine and start the rulebook, which basically opens port 5000 for listening. We have to wait a little bit. Now it's listening. And now we can edit this machine, set its status to staged, and save the new status. And now we see that it's running. Gathering effects. Well, it's here. The debug output is the data of the virtual machine. Here you see Debian 11, the CPUs, the disk, the memory. There is no IP address in this virtual machine defined because when I create a droplet, then DigitalOcean assigns a new IP address, and the rest of my Ansible playbook is when it's created the machine, it will store these data back to NetBox, assign the IP address to that machine, and finally set the status to active. I tried it. Creating the droplet takes about 10 minutes, so I think I will run out of time. We can let it run during Ali gets his presentation, and we'll see. We might have a quick look into how it looks finally. So basically, this is the machine. At the moment, it's staged, and we're waiting for DigitalOcean to create the virtual machine. Within 10 minutes, I get the IP address, and I can log into that new machine. And so we have here. So we have the whole chain. NetBox triggers. If an event happens in NetBox, it triggers the webhook. It talks to the rulebook in Ansible, and Ansible finally does something. I think it's a very elegant way to connect NetBox to the real world and to do things from NetBox through Ansible config management and really do something. For instance, creating virtual machines. So it's still running. Oh yeah, here. Here is my DigitalOcean. Oh. Yeah, not yet created the virtual machine. It takes its time. So yeah, let's wait for the machine to be created. In the meantime, I will write a blog about article about all the stuff here and the playbooks and the runbooks I use. It will be published on our website, sys4.de, and there we have the blog. I have, yeah, from time to time I write something about NetBox mostly. Yeah, there will be this new rulebooks connection with NetBox I will publish also here. So yeah, that is the integration. Thank you very much for your attention. Open for discussion.
Yeah, a quick question for you. So you're tying that webhook in there. Maybe if we get a little bit later on into the open Q&A, could you show off that webhook, how you have that structured and put together?
Yeah, I think we have 2 minutes of time. So the webhook is very, very simple. Here is the webhook. Manage VM. It's enabled. The event is an update of the virtual machine because I create the virtual machine in the state planned. And when I update it, like setting it to staged, then the condition is the status is in decommissioning or staged. The assigned model is a virtual machine. And finally, I'm just calling my event-driven Ansible with this payload URL. And I don't have any specific body. I just take the body, which is a data of the virtual machine, pass it on to Ansible, and this is a debug output of the data of the virtual machine. As you can see here, it's 512. It's a name. It's created in Frankfurt data center, and yeah, that's it.
That's really cool. The reason I asked you to bring that up to show specifically is that sometimes I feel like webhooks, they're very powerful, but when people are still kind of figuring out network automation, what the journey looks like, just the different ways that they can use NetBox to not just collect information, but actually put it in action. That's really the reason I wanted you to flip back to it, is just to give anyone who's watching just a little bit of a sample of what's a simple webhook can look like, but really how powerful it can be on the back end. So that's terrific. Thanks for that.
Yeah, so you can decide to make the body of the webhook look like you need it, or you do it inside Ansible. Yeah, so it's either doing the work here or there. I decide to do the work inside Ansible, so deriving everything from the VM data. So it's simple.
Yeah, that's nice. I'm really looking forward to the blog write-up, and just personally aside, I really like the format of your blog. Just wanted to put that out there.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael.
Developers.
Yeah, let them know. Pass along those words. So if anyone has any other questions for Michael, we'll have some more time at the end.